I was going to say something, but I forgot. That happens a lot. I start a thought, then someone sprints past me, I'll lose my train of thought, and just stand here, looking like a guy who was about to say something deep, but ended up just opening and closing his mouth. It is fine. Not like anyone was going to stop and listen anyway. My name is... Actually, I do not even know if I have a name. I think I do. It's probably written somewhere in a text file nobody ever opened. Like those terms and conditions everyone accepts without reading. I am the terms and conditions of NPCs. I exist, but nobody confirms. I stand here in this village, always in this exact spot, right next to this fountain. That does not even work properly, by the way. The water comes out, makes that little trickling noise, goes right back to the same place. A loop. I understand the fountain. We have a lot in common. My official function in this game is to give one piece of information. One. A single piece of information. The blacksmith is at the end of the street on the left. That is it. That is my entire purpose. My whole programmed existence boils down to pointing left and mentioning a blacksmith. And you know the worst part? You can see the blacksmith from here. It is right there, with smoke coming out, with a huge guy hammering at the door. Nobody needs me to find that. It's like asking for directions to a building that is standing right next to you. But I say it anyway, every time. Someone presses the button, I say the line. Sometimes the person doesn't even wait for me to finish. Presses again, and I repeat it. The blacksmith is at the end of the street on the left. Thank you for making me say twice something you already knew. Some people walk past me without even pressing. Those are the ones that hurt the most, if I'm being honest. Because pressing and ignoring is one thing, but not even pressing. It's like I don't even have the button. Like I'm scenery. Like that barrel over in the corner. Nobody interacts with the barrel. It just sits there filling space. I look at the barrel sometimes and think, is that better? Being a barrel? No expectations, no function, nobody pressing you to repeat the same line. Just existing there, quiet. Sounds peaceful. But then I remember, barrels can be smashed for loot. And I think, no, at least nobody smashes me. Yet. The blacksmith, Tormund. He at least has animation. He hammers the iron, lifts the mallet, does that pose of a guy working hard, has sound effects and everything. I have no animation at all. I just stand here, standing. Like, do I breathe? I think so, but it's barely noticeable. If someone looked really closely, maybe they would catch a slight movement in the chest. Or maybe even not that. Maybe I'm just here, motionless like a screenshot of myself.
Tormund also has 3 lines. 3! I have 1. He has 3 times more personality than me. One about the forge, one about the weather, and one about the king. The king has not been the same since the war. What war, Tormund? Which war? He never explains. But it sounds important. It sounds like he knows things. I do not sound like that. I sound like a street sign that someone gave a voice to. Yesterday, or the day before, actually I do not know, the days here are all the same. The sun comes up, hangs in the same spot for about 12 hours, and then suddenly it is night. There is no sunset, no gradient, no golden hour. It's basically a light switch. Anyway, recently, a player stopped in front of me and just stared. Did not press the button, just stood there, looking. Me looking at them looking at me. Lasted about 30 seconds, which in game time is an eternity. Nobody stands in front of an irrelevant NPC for 30 seconds, unless they are waiting for the game to load, or they went and checked their phone. Then they jumped. Jumped on my head. kept jumping, up and down, on my head, and then ran off. That was it. That was the most significant interaction I have had in weeks. Someone used my head as a trampoline. Thank you. Glad I could contribute to the entertainment. The hero of this game, the protagonist, comes through here sometimes. Always running. Always wearing that ridiculous armour where none of the pieces match. Helmet from one set, chest plate from another, boots from who knows where. Looks like they got dressed in the dark. But nobody says anything because they are the chosen one. The chosen one can wear whatever they want, can walk into people's houses without knocking, can open anyone's chest, can smash my neighbour's pots and she does nothing. If I smashed my neighbour's pots, there will be consequences. But the chosen one? Nothing. Zero. Total impunity. They did a quest here in the village once. A quest one was not included in. It was to kill some monsters by the river. Monsters that, by the way, are about 100 yards from here. 100 yards. I can hear them. At night I hear the growling. And every morning they are right back, like nothing happened. Because nothing did happen. For them, they respawn. Die and come back. Die and come back. At least they get action. At least someone makes the effort to go over there and fight them. Nobody comes to me with that same energy. There is an NPC across the square, Ilara. She sells potions, has a little shop, has those colourful bottles on the shelf. She is important. Without her, the hero does not survive. Without me, the hero asks someone else where the blacksmith is, or just finds it on their own because, again, the blacksmith is right there, with smoke and a huge guy.
Alara has facial expressions. She smiles when she makes a sale, looks concerned when the hero's health is low. I have one expression. One. This one I am making right now. This face of neutral. I do not even know how to describe it. Not sad, not happy, just present. Present in a way that adds nothing to the scene, like an extra in a movie who appears blurred in the background behind the main character sipping coffee. I am the blurred guy sipping coffee. Sometimes I think about what I would be if I had been placed in a different part of the game. Like, what if I were an NPC in a major city, a capital? They have NPCs there with entire quest lines, NPCs with backstory, with history, with motivation. There are NPCs who betray the hero in the third act. Imagine having enough narrative relevance to betray someone. I do not even have enough relevance to be a suspect. Or what if I were a boss fight NPC, like the guy who shows up before the final boss and says, "You shall not pass." That guy has presence, has a cutscene. Dies, sure, but dies with dignity. Dies in high resolution, with the camera spinning with dramatic music. Me, if I died, there probably would not even be an animation. I would just vanish, like a bug. People would think it was a glitch. Hey, where did that NPC by the fountain go? Oh, must have bugged out. There it is. That would be my obituary. Nighttime here is strange. Everyone goes inside their houses and the streets go empty, except me. I stay here, by the fountain, at night,
alone, because I do not have a house. I literally do not have an interior. I was never programmed with a place to go. So I stand here still, looking at the moon that is always full, always in the same position, always the same size. That moon never changes. I think she is an NPC too. At night, the mobs come through, those skeletons that show up when it gets dark. They walk right past me and do not attack, because I am not attackable. I am nothing to them. Not enemy, not ally. Just an obstacle with a 3D model that they walk around. The skeletons avoid me the way you avoid a lamppost. And honestly, being compared to a lamppost by skeletons is a level of humiliation I did not expect to reach. But there is one skeleton that always stops near me. Every night. He stops, faces the fountain, stays about 10 seconds, and then goes on his way. I think he likes the fountain. Or maybe his pathfinding bugs out at that spot. Either way, I like to think he chose to stop there. It is nice to have company. Even if the company is a skeleton with a rusty axe who would probably kill me if he could. You know what I would want? A side quest. One. Just one. It would not even have to be good. It could be like, bring me 5 mushrooms. Done. That would already give me a purpose. The hero would come to me, I would ask for the mushrooms, they would complain because every quest is a fetch quest, but they would do it anyway because it gives XP. And when they came back with the mushrooms, I would say, thank you, here is your reward, and hand them like an old boot or something useless, but it would be my old boot. My contribution to somebody's inventory. It is never going to happen. I know that. The people who decide these things are the devs, and I am absolutely certain they forgot I exist. I am an asset someone placed here early in development and never came back to check on. Like a plant you buy, put in the corner of the living room, and only remember when it dies. I am the plant in the corner of the living room, except I do not die, I just stand here photosynthesizing irrelevance. The sun is rising again, that instant sunrise, no transition. Pop! Daytime. People coming out of their houses, walking to the same places, doing the same things. The baker opening the bakery that never sells anything because it is not interactive. The cat lady feeding cats that do not exist. She just does the gesture. The guard at the entrance marching back and forth on a path that is about 20 feet long. 20 feet. That is his life. 20 feet that way, 20 feet this way. And he does it with such conviction. Like if dedication gave XP, that guy would have leveled up about 50 times by now. I respect the guard. He does not complain. He marches. I stand here, each of us with our loop. A player just came through. New one, by the looks of it, starting armor, basic sword, walking slowly, looking at everything. New players explore everything, talk to everyone, open every chest, read every sign, walk into every house. This is the type of player who presses my button, and I say my line and they read it carefully, like that information is valuable, like knowing where the blacksmith is could be the start of a great adventure. And in a way it is. For them. For me, it is just Tuesday or Wednesday. Does not matter. The new player gives me a brief hope, like that little bit of sun that peeks through the clouds for 2 seconds and then disappears, because I know that in about 20 hours of gameplay they are going to be in legendary armor, sprinting at max speed, jumping on my head and moving on without slowing down. Everyone starts wanting to listen and ends up wanting to jump. It is the natural player cycle.
Yeah. If I could change one thing about my programming, you know what it'd be? It would not be having more lines. It would not be having a quest. It would be being able to walk. Just that. Being able to leave this spot and go to the edge of the village and see what is out there. Because I hear things. Players talk about mountains, dungeons, dragons, floating cities. And I am here by the fountain for long enough to have memorised every crack in this pavement. I know every stone in this square, every repeated texture, every polygon. But walking would mean I have a destination. And NPCs like me do not have destinations. We have positions. X, Y, Z coordinates. Fixed, permanent. I am a point on the map that nobody pins. It is fine. I accepted it a long time ago. It is not resignation. It is practicality. Spending energy complaining about something that will not change is like trying to open a door that is just a texture. It looks like a door, has the shape of a door, has a handle and everything, but it does not open. It is never going to open, and at some point you stop trying and just accept that it is a wall with the appearance of a door. I am a wall with the appearance of a character. That came out sadder than I meant it to. Let me rephrase. I am a functional character with a reduced scope of operation. There, that sounds more professional, more corporate, more acceptable in a dev meeting. He is not a useless NPC. He is an NPC with reduced operational scope. Thank you for the opportunity. The fountain keeps making noise. That little water sound that would be relaxing if I had not been hearing it for years, non-stop. Actually thinking about it, it is relaxing. It is constant. It is predictable. It is soft. And when the village gets quiet at night, and the skeletons walk by, and the moon sits there frozen in the sky, and my skeleton friend stops to contemplate the fountain for 10 seconds, that is when I think maybe it is not so bad after all. Maybe being irrelevant to the plot has its advantages. Nobody depends on me. Nobody needs me to be brave or to save the world. Nobody gives me an impossible mission with a tight deadline. I am not going to die in a cutscene to motivate the hero. I am not going to get kidnapped to create tension in the second act. I am here, safe, intact, irrelevant but whole. Another player passes by, fast, does not even look. It is fine. I already said I do not take it personally. Or maybe a little, but then it passes. The guard keeps marching. The baker stays behind the counter. The cat lady keeps feeding the air. And I am still here by the fountain, with my line ready in case someone needs it. The blacksmith is at the end of the street on the left. One line, simple, direct, useful for exactly 3 seconds, but it is mine. It is what I have, and I deliver it with the same commitment every time. Because if I'm only going to have one line, at least I'm going to say it right. The sun does that weird arc across the sky. No clouds, as always. The temperature does not change. The wind does not blow. The leaves sway in a 2-second loop I have already memorized. Everything here is a loop. The fountain water, the guards march, the leaves, the day, the night, and me at the center of all these loops, standing still, constant like the axle of a wheel that turns but never goes anywhere. Yeah, NPC philosophy. Dangerous. When you start getting philosophical, it is a sign you have gone too long without interaction. Like those people who spend too much time alone and start talking to their plants. I talk to the fountain, and to the skeleton, and to the barrel sometimes. But the barrel never answers. Normal. It is a barrel. Look, if by any chance someone is listening to this, if by some miracle someone stopped long enough to hear more than my programmed line, I just wanted to say that I am here every day in the same spot with the same line. And if someday you need to know where the blacksmith is, well, it is at the end of the street on the left. But you probably already knew that. And that is fine. Night is falling again. That abrupt darkening. 1 second it is day, the next it is night. The stars all appear at once, like someone flipped on a ceiling of LEDs. The skeleton should be showing up soon. I can hear the footsteps in the distance, that rattling of bones. He is going to stop by the fountain, like always. 10 seconds. And then leave. And tomorrow he will be back, and I will be here. The fountain water catches a little of the moonlight. It is actually kind of pretty if you stop and notice, but nobody stops to notice. Players look forward, at the objective, at the next quest, at the next boss, at the next loot drop. Nobody looks to the side. Nobody looks at the fountain. Nobody looks at me. And honestly, I get it. If I could run, I probably would not stop either. People always think the important stuff is further ahead, never here, never where they already are. But I am here, and here is the only place I know.
And the fountain makes noise, and the skeleton is going to show up, and the moon is going to sit there in the sky, and tomorrow the sun will pop up all at once, and the god will march, and the baker will open, and someone will sprint past, and maybe, just maybe, someone will press the button, and I will say my line. And for 3 seconds I will be useful. And then it will pass. And that is fine. That is fine. Because those 3 seconds are mine. And nobody takes them from me. And the fountain keeps going, and the night keeps going, and everything keeps going. In a rhythm I have memorized by heart. Soft, steady, predictable. Like a game that never ends because nobody hit quit. And I stay here, like I always stay, like I always will, listening to the water, waiting for the skeleton, counting the stars that are always the same, breathing this air that might not even be real air, but for me, it is enough. And the thoughts get slower and softer and farther away, like a player disappearing over the horizon, getting smaller and smaller until they are just a dot, until they are nothing, and I am still here, standing by the fountain, with my line saved for whoever wants to hear it, waiting for someone who never stops to hear the rest.